Kyle here from allmeatreviews.blogspot.com. I think I mentioned the new Psych movie. Anyway, I'm here to do a brief review, but probably not the only review, if all goes well, of maybe multiple Psych videos. The TV show Psych put out their third movie. It's titled This Is Gus, which is, it hit me just when we were watching it. That's a reference to This Is Us, which the irony among ironies, of course, was Psych references to other shows. James Roday is starring in a TV show called A Million Little Things. The last couple of years it's been on ABC, since like 2019, I think. It's been compared to the TV show on NBC, This Is Us. I don't watch This Is Us. I don't watch A Million Little Things for various reasons, but it just kind of hit me, the title, This Is Gus. So, alright, I'm not going to go over the whole show here, nothing like that, but Psych, the TV show Psych, aired on the USA Network the summer of 2006, starring James Roday, now known as James Roday Rodriguez. His birth name is Rodriguez, and Dule Hill, best known for The West Wing. So, I've been a fan. My friend John and I then, it was the next summer, 2007, we started a podcast we just called it the Psych Fans Podcast, I think, and then we changed the name at some point to Psychic Crap Fest, to line that the Lassiter character in the show utters at one point. Lo-Fi Podcast, it's on YouTube, some of the episodes. They were on a blogspot and stuff. I have a lot of the old episodes. We didn't do a podcast for every episode, but we did them for more than half. And in real time as they were. We would babble on about pop culture references and stuff. So, but I have all the DVDs right here of every season. I don't have the special, like, Christmas episode. There's a Halloween episode, the Christmas episode special, and then the box set with the pineapple I never got. My wife wanted to get. Anyway, but I think for another video, at least one video, I'll try to do more commentary on Psych. And my wife and I was itching to like watch this again, a lot of the episodes, just because they're rewatchable episodes. I've seen many of the episodes many times, but anyway, and the whole fandom, psychers versus psychos. I don't call myself a psycho because I don't want to be referred to as a psycho or being psychotic or whatever, but first season, I'll just show these quickly. Second season, these are all the first run of the box. You can see the thick kind. Third season, fourth season, fifth season, aired till 2014. We had a break 1 year. Sixth season, seventh season, and the eighth season, which had a total of 8 episodes anyway. So they've done 2 movies. It ended in 2014, big finale episode, and there was some talk about, and Dule Hill ended up on the show Suits, which I'm still guilty of never really watching much of, but I probably should, but time and priorities and other things to watch, and but so there was always belief or hope that they would do something else, either a revival miniseries, movies was probably the first choice. So they came out with, in 2017, the first movie, and they said this is going to be the first of, the hope is to do potentially like 6 or 7 movies, which I still would be impressed if that ended up happening, but 2017, the first Psych movie, it's just called Psych the Movie, I think. They did the musical episode too, which was sort of like a precursor to like the bigger production, bigger budget one thing. That being said, the musical episode's not my favorite Psych episode anywhere near. Some people love it, but they did a second movie then, after they did the first one. Unfortunately, on the first movie, Tim Amundsen, who plays Lassiter, had suffered a stroke, and so he couldn't be in it. I know the script was probably different at the point they were writing it, but thankfully his health has gotten better, but he's still not like 100%. He's not acting the same rate he was, although he joined Gallivant, he was on Gallivant, and he's a really, really good singer and a comedic actor and everything, Tim Amundsen, a big part of Psych. But anyway, so he wasn't in the first movie. And then the second movie then came out, and I think John Cena, the character who plays Juliet, the guy, actor, wrestler, people know him pretty well now, who played Juliet's brother in an episode, came in and he kind of filled the void of the lack of Lassiter in the first movie. But I haven't seen the first movie in a long time, since it first made available. It aired on the USA Network. I remember streaming it. But the second movie came out the summer of 2020. Did have Tim Amundsen return as Lassiter in sort of a more limited role, but he was in it at least. I thought that was a better movie than the first movie, but it had Molly, it had Kadeem Hardison, I remember, and it was funny, it was good, but so the third movie now comes out, and Lasseter Again's role is somewhat limited, but it's more than the second movie, thankfully. But so we watched it over the weekend, my wife and I, and it had to do with the plot with Doolitle's character's Gus' fiance, and who's pregnant with his child, and trying to figure out there's some uncertain information about her that Sean, ends up having to investigate. So it's a little different kind of plot angle. My overall take was, it was funny. It was the funniest of all the three Psych movies for sure from memory. I should go back and revisit the first two again, because I think they're available online to stream. But there was a lot of the references. It felt more like classic Psych in a lot of respects. The plot itself, though, everything with the baby was a little contrived for me, kind of in Psych fashion. I mean, Gus's character is he's become more cartoonish, which is weird. You think it'd be the opposite. When he was, the early days of Psych, he was less cartoonic. He was more like sort of straight-faced humor, and he's become more, I don't know how to describe it in any other way. He's still funny, still good, he's still doing some of the Gus-isms, but it's more cartoonish, some of his emotive moments. But it's what his fiance is having a baby. They have to get married. They involve Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears, who'd been on at least one, maybe two episodes. They made a whole reference to Wham and George Michael, and then they do a video. This is kind of a spoiler alert. They do kind of an homage to Last Christmas in some ways, which my wife, who's a huge Wham and George Michael fan, really appreciated. They made references to Aha, which is good. I just saw the Aha documentary. That was good. They dressed up into some retro characters. Well, Sean was not that retro, being Rob Zombie, but Gus being, I don't even know the guy who has the dummy. He did a lot of variety stuff. That's very retro, 60s and 70s. My wife Joyce was saying that, just kind of making a little bit of a stretch with the references. Because most people who are watching don't necessarily know, because Gus was wearing the little handlebar mustache. I can't remember the actor's name. Pete, I want to say his name is Pete something, but and then the Gilmore Girls thing, which I've talked about for ages, that Psych kind of took the baton from Gilmore Girls and pop culture referencing. Buffy the Vampire Slayer did it somewhat. Big Bang Theory did it, but for the most part, clever, fast-witted humor of pop culture referencing. So they finally, I always wanted them to have some connection with like Lauren Graham / Lorelai Gilmore and James Roday Rodriguez and Sean Spencer. It should have happened, but at least they made a nod to one of Gus's fiance's not real last names. Her last name is supposedly Gilmore, but it's not actually, as we find out. Again, spoiler alert. But I'll have to put that in the subject. This is not spoiler free. There were a lot of the classic. They made a reference to Last Crusade. They made a reference to Beverly Hills Cop and Victor Maitland. And I thought that actually Kurt Smith, the way he looks now, resembles the way the Victor Maitland character of Beverly Hills Cop looks. You had Kate Finlay, who I recently saw on an independent film. Ironically, her name was Rory, and they mentioned Rory Gilmore in that film. But she also was recently on another connection with Gilmore Girls, oddly enough. The show that Lauren Graham was in that got canceled, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. She made a guest appearance or two on that. So I'd like to see her in that. You had the main cast. You didn't have Lasseter and Jules together, which is weird. And the Jules plot with Chief Vic was a little bit contrived. You don't meet Chief Vic's husband, and she has a kid who's now in his late teens. So there's the episode, one of the first couple seasons, where she's pregnant and she's giving birth at the end. So I think that was the second season. First or second season, I can't remember. Anyway, some of it was contrived, but the the pop culture humor was really good. It was even though it was, I mean, the stuff that I know James Roday and Steve Franks wrote it. Now Steve Franks has totally responsible for a ton of the humor and the pop culture referencing. I don't know about Roday as much, Roday Rodriguez, and but it worked a lot on this particular movie. So I'm happy. I want to watch it again. You know, I mean, was it a perfect movie? No. Was it as good as some of the best episodes of Psych? Not quite. It reminded me more of some of the second, like the season 5 on episodes, but when the references were funny, they were quite funny. There's a scene in the bathroom which goes on for a while, so I think that there were a couple parts in the movie which went on for a little too long for my take, is that, you know, they were just doing it for the sake of doing it. You know, this has to be a movie, it's not an episode for the USA Network, but you know, that scene, the closing scene, the guy who ends up being sort of one of the primary characters, you didn't get a lot of Woody, you only got one scene with McNabb, but you did, and you got Lasseter's daughter, which I liked her. Maybe they'll involve her in, if they do more movies, I would think they will. But the guy who is playing Alan, the guy who played Alan, his name is Alan, I think in real life, I guess was in Blackish, my wife was reminding me of, and he's been in some other stuff, but he was quite funny when Sean and Gus are trying to talk to him about, you know, like movie references. So, and actually one of the best scenes, which was not very long, was the scene where they end up tracking down this woman who's like lying for Gus's fiance, Salome, basically lying. She takes off and meeting the boyfriend, and his name is Glenn. That was good. So anyway, that's my kind of overview, slightly with spoilers, review of the new Psych movie. This is Gus, Psych 3. This is Gus, like Lassie Come Home was the second one, kind of like the reference to the Lassie movie. But if you've seen it, you're a Psych fan, what's your take on it? What's your take on Psych the show? My thought is, my hope is I can try to do a podcast and or video with my co-host of the Psych at Crapfest, John, at some point soon. I think he said he has seen it too, so we would review it. The only thing that sticks out about it is I was having trouble actually watching it. I had to watch it on my cable TV and not stream it online. I had to access Peacock through a third party. I don't believe I'm getting charged by my cable company, but I don't know. And then about an hour in, it froze up. That was also annoying. Then I had to reset it and everything. So it's a small snafu. I was thinking for a minute that I was going to have to sign up and pay extra money to get Peacock, and I was trying to figure out what else am I going to watch on Peacock. Battlestar Galactica, the revival, is supposed to be in there at some point, but anyway, so that is kind of my shtick. More Psych stuff coming up. I mean, I am thinking I'm going to try watching the Wonder Years with the new revival, with the Black Wonder Years, with basically it's called the Wonder Years with Dule. The one clip I saw, it sounded like he was basically channeling Gus, but my wife is kind of on the fence about it because she's not exactly the biggest Fred Savage fan. But anyway, again, what's your take on the new Psych movie, or any of the Psych movies, or Psych the show? Or have you seen those other two shows that the guys in the movie in Psych have been doing? But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.